Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So as you can tell by the title, we'll be talking about two storm systems. These will be occurring very promptly. They actually already have started. One is further east, one is kind of across the northern plains. So without further ado, let's get into this. Before we do, if you guys would like to subscribe, if you like what you're seeing, watch to the end. It's just a reminder that you can subscribe. It really helps out. So definitely consider doing so. And if you are a returning viewer liking the videos, fantastic. So let's get into this. Looking at the National Weather Service map, notice that we do have a large area of freeze and frost across the mid-Atlantic, really the western mid-Atlantic and into the Ohio Valley, into kind of the eastern Midwest. But that's not really our concern with snow. That's just cold temperatures, which is allowing the cold snow to fall. Or just snow, cold snow. Snow is cold. Let's take a look up here in the north. This is where we have winter advisories. I kind of skipped over that. That's a whole set of winter advisories. You can see they're also extending into Montana and Wyoming. So definitely a bit of snow possible. The National Weather Service is a bit, how do you say this? It keeps it pretty limited. There could be, I think, quite a good amount of locations that are going to be seeing over 6 inches. But generally, the track has been shifting a bit further and further to the south. So right now, Fargo is expected to see 0 to 1 inch, around an inch. I wouldn't be surprised if, they get 1 to 2 or maybe even 3 inches. And these northern locations kind of start slipping. This snow is going to fall heavy and intense once it does start falling. Let's go to the HRRR model, the high resolution rapid refresh. By the way, the second storm system is going on over here, which I'll talk about in just a minute. You can see it does its fair share of intensification and snowfall. But let's take a look at this storm. Notice what we have right now are scattered showers and snow showers depending on where you live. The northern Great Lakes, the UP, closer to the Canadian border, north of Lake Superior into cities like Thunder Bay, those larger cities that I know there's plenty though. International Falls, seeing some snow showers. You can see that the winds are blowing from the south and west because that's where the squalls are kind of located. Also, I want to make this clear that just because this storm is really just affecting this area with snow and a larger area with rain doesn't mean that you won't get affected at all. There's actually a significant wind threat for tomorrow across the Midwest, and I'll explain why it's so significant without even there being such a strong low pressure. And some of these wind gusts, Illinois, Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, if you live in any of those locations, definitely secure the loose hanging items, anything, any furniture, any patio, because these winds could be gusting up to 50 miles per hour. Not storm related, not with a thunderstorm of any sort, just straight wind gusts throughout most of the day. So that could be possibly more dangerous than what the precip. Look at this. We have a low pressure right now across Montana. It is dropping a bit of rain, bit of snow. It really hasn't developed much. And notice that, I'll focus on this one first, then that one. But notice we have a band of snow moving into North Dakota, affecting cities like Bismarck, Minot. A lot of these larger cities getting impacted by this. You can see that we start seeing this low pressure move out to the plains. Still a lot of scattered showers and snow showers across the mountains. Notice we do see a pretty wide band of snow develop across Minnesota and North Dakota into Wisconsin. You can see this snow gets pretty far to the south. Cities like Madison will be kind of on that verge of seeing it versus not. Green Bay definitely will get a burst of snow. How much, we'll have to see. And notice Twin Cities located right around there. Mainly rain for you, though some snow mixing in for sure is possible. St. Cloud possibly seeing some accumulating snow, maybe like a trace to an inch. And this has been just shifting further and further to the south as the day goes on. Now that isn't really such a big deal in terms of just the actual storm track, because this isn't really kind of an on coast off coast thing. Wherever it will go, more north and more south, it will impact people. Not infect people. We have a different thing that's going around doing that. But if we have a look at the total snowfalls through the next 14 hours, which is into early Saturday morning, it's not that much. But let's go back to the full model run and the latest full model run. You can see it shows quite a bit of snow. But again, that's still not the full extent. If we want to see the full extent, we go to 18Z, and you can see there's several locations seeing 6 inches plus. But I do want to emphasize that this is shifting further and further to the south with recent data. You can see this was the model run at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon today. You can see that it had a very, very strong band of snow occurring across North Dakota and into Minnesota and Wisconsin. It was significantly further to the north. You can see in this case, Green Bay was on the verge of rain snow. Now they could be seeing a burst of snow, and some of these snowfall rates were very, very heavy. And, that's almost like blizzard-like conditions over there with that low pressure spinning across and dumping lots of snow. International Falls would be seeing a lot. Duluth would be kind of on that rain snow line. But then it moves into the Canada, which would receive quite a good dose of snow. With the latest forecast, let's just take it back to the newest one. You can see it's further to the south. And it does drop less snow because it's weaker. It's a weaker system, so we'll definitely have to monitor this. The latest forecast does show a bit less, but again, as I showed you with this 18Z model run, what we saw was almost ridiculous amounts of snow for this time of the year. Several locations pushing into the double digits, so 10 inches plus. You could see 8, 9, 9, 7, 6. For, again, best info, keep to the National Weather Service. They'll keep you best updated. As you can see that the latest forecast model run does show the snow across generally similar locations, a bit further to the south, but it's significantly less amounts. Though still, there will be locations seeing 5+ inches of snow. I do want to show that Michigan could be seeing some snow, mainland Michigan, not just the UP. You could see outskirts of Green Bay possibly seeing a bit of snow, some snow showers into also north of Lake Superior, seeing some scattered snow showers. Now you want to know probably about the wind. What on earth am I talking about? Where was the wind with this storm? Since a good portion of the Midwest may be looking at a significant wind threat. Let me show you why. So we have a very strong high pressure to the southeast, and we have a very relatively strong low pressure, not as strong as high pressure, relatively a strong low pressure to the north. This is what a high pressure does in the northern hemisphere. It spins clockwise, and the winds it's directing flow in this direction. The low pressure right here spins counterclockwise, the opposite, and you can see it kind of gets disturbed through the mountains, but still has a big flow, and the winds go this way. What this does, it creates a very, very strong avenue of winds. And again, I mentioned this a couple days back, and unfortunately the models have maintained this, and that will result in a very powerful wind threat kind of through this corridor of Missouri, Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, Indiana, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, even into Texas. So this is quite possibly the biggest threat with these storms. It may seem like the precip would be the wind. The wind may not even be the strongest around the area of the low, but because of these two beasts kind of working together, creating a very, very, very dangerous wind threat. The fire threat is off the charts tomorrow with such a high wind. Any ember that does light, it's pretty much like blowing oxygen onto a little fire. It's just, fanning those flames very, very high. So not good news, and of course, just not good news in terms of the damage it may do. Let's take a look at what the NAM shows if we're already on it in terms of precipitation and snowfall. You can see that it does keep that southern track kind of similar to what the latest HER model shows, and you can see it takes it out into Ontario, kind of delivers quite a good dose of snow, and it includes more events of snow possibly later on. But let's just focus on this one first. Notice total snowfall less than what that one HER model was showing, but still relatively, significant amounts, 3 to 4 or 5 inches early October, mid-October, I should rather say, is still significant and would definitely pose a threat. Shouldn't be life-threatening, but definitely something we have to keep an eye out for. And again, the HER model kind of, threw a curveball earlier on in the day, but now it's kind of deferring from that. So we'll definitely have to see what that track organizes itself as, because exactly how it sets up will kind of determine whether or not the heaviest snow will occur, because that one track it took at that earlier model run was probably the most efficient. You can see now it keeps it weaker, but it's further to the south, so cities like Green Bay may be getting it on some snow, even some consistent snow. Also, Montana, Wyoming, folks living in those areas will be seeing a mix of rain, snow, even some thunder snow, or some thunderstorms. You can see that's pretty convective energy. And now, I do apologize, it's 10 minutes into the video, but the second system, you can see we have a large cold front across the northeast. It's not too awfully developed, it's still in its development phases. It's kind of going through the second one. You can see precipitation precipitation starts flowing up to the north through New York City, New Jersey, into kind of the Maryland, DC area. And this storm finally organizes itself, and most of the night today, Boston could be seeing some rain, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York City. And this thing does become pretty powerful with actually those yellow colors showing, which is indicating of some moderate to quite possibly just downright heavy rain. And do notice that the mountains in Vermont and Maine, while it's pretty limited to those locations, they will be seeing quite a bit of snow. And if you go back to the earlier model run that kind of takes it through the full event, we would see some pretty good amounts of snow falling across those locations. By the way, just because the latest track of the HRRR changed this storm, it hasn't really done much to this system. And I also do want to show or say that area my viewers living in Ontario may still be seeing a stronger system despite what the track looks like in the United States, because then it'll have more time to intensify. Maybe not these amounts. You can see these would be very heavy, but you got to check with your local forecasters and see what they have to say. Let's zoom in on the Northeast and show you what the snowfall amounts will be occurring in Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire. You could see generally lighter amounts, but in those little patches of bright pink, that's the elevated areas. They could be looking easily up to 6, 7, 8 inches, if not a few, 1 foot amounts of snow. Whether or not that snow organizes itself with that cold air. Let's take a quick look at some of the other models that are European. This is kind of like the long-range model that we look at. I didn't really look at it much this video because we have the storms in a relative short range, so we use those models. You can see that's the Europeans model impact on that system. And you can see this system becomes a pretty large storm across southeastern Canada, so I do want to emphasize that as well. We have a little bit of snow moving into Ontario with the European, not as much as some of the other models are showing. But overall, I want to mention that the pattern is active. Lots of rain, lots of snow, and lots of cold, especially at the end of the forecasting period. The latest GFS model run, this is the Snowfall. You can see keeps it pretty limited, more across the Northeast, in fact. But it definitely keeps the threat of snow going pretty strong throughout the long range as more storms and systems push through the area into the Midwest and Northeast. And one final thing I would like to look at is some of the models, the high resolution models, but different variations. This is a WRF ARW. So again, just because the HRRR model doesn't show it doesn't show a certain track doesn't mean it won't happen. While the HRRR model is very, very highly regarded, it's not the most accurate model in the world, and even for a short range model, it's not that accurate. You can see this is a WRF model. These tend to do a bit worse job, but let's just see what they have to say. Pretty strong snow across Minnesota, almost like a convective band, just north of those, sitting kind of on top of that low pressure. You can see the system across the Northeast also dropping quite a significant amount of rain. Look at the winds. They will be howling through the plains tomorrow. So definitely, if you're not impacted by the snow, still please pay attention to your local weather, because it may not necessarily, you may not see a drop of precipitation, but you could still receive damage. And then you could see that the WRF model really takes this into a pretty spitty storm, a blizzard almost across Ontario area. And in terms of total snowfall, we see some locations, again, receiving up to a foot of snow. Central Ontario, Southern Ontario, keep your eyes open, because even if you're not in the heaviest axis of snow, you can see this model shows a widespread 2 to 3 inch event. This is just one model I want to emphasize. This is a different model of the same family group. Pretty much the same across the Northeast as well, some pretty generous amounts. This model definitely keeps things a bit more limited, lesser snow amounts across the Northeast and the Midwest, so that leads me to think that this one overall just is a little bit more biased towards the warmer scenario, since it's also showing lesser snow across the Northeast. But we'll have to see what it exactly does with this system. I would say we have more confidence in the Northeast system. This one, a bit less. And you can see that these amounts, I would say they're fair. Maybe a bit under forecasted if the original HRRR model forecast comes together. But if it's the newer ones, then that sounds just about right, that total snowfall. You can see we do have some snow showers. I'm pretty sure those are snow showers. They appear a bit too light to be rain. I will want to check that. Though they honestly might be rain. I might be just giving you... Okay, well, rain and snow, so it's probably a mixture at this point. And you can see that... this location in particular doesn't see much, but many others, near Grand Forks, for example, they could be looking at some decent amounts for sure, to say the least. 3 to 5, 3 to 6 inches. You could see 2 to 4 inches. First significant snowfall of the year in Alberta Clipper. So that's what they coined it, in Alberta Clipper. That's where it stemmed from. And I'll be catching you all guys on the next episode, talking about the further chance of storms. Probably not these two, but we'll have to see. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.